Time Congress has failed to pass a budget on time since 1974. And Democrats had control of the House, the Senate, and the White House.
Look, it's pretty simple. This is what's happening right now. The president has issued a budget to Congress. We're waiting on the Republicans in the House of Representatives to make a move and really pass a budget. They're more interested in getting their policy writers at the bottom of the bill, such as their to unfund the health care bill, to unfund Planned Parenthood, than they are in keeping the American government open. The consequences of the Republicans' actions are pretty simple. If we let the Republicans get their way, then Adam will not be able to receive Pell Grants. Little Rebecca won't be able to get Head Start to get a jump start in her education. Luann and Lois will not be able to receive Meals on Wheels. The Republicans want to cut all these programs to the middle class.
Good. I'm glad we went there. Let's go to the Office of Management and Budget on the shutdown process and what services are actually cut and what services are kept in
I'm not
place.
talking about that. I'm talking about H.R. 1, which is the Republican budget bill. They want to cut Pell Grants in the middle of the school year. This shows that they're not committed to the American people.
First of all, no government program ever gets cut immediately and never has in the history of our legislative
Well, that's what's advocated in H.R. 1, though. Okay. Is that not what's advocated in H.R. 1?
These programs do have to be restructured and cut. But this hyperbole that goes on in this debate stays outside of what actually happens in a shutdown. We have Chuck Schumer saying the caucus has instructed me to use extreme, and that's what I'm telling you. The Democrats play hyperbole with policy at a time in America when we need real fiscal austerity. Let's face it. Either we do it or our creditors, China, Japan, which is now in its own economic mess, second largest holder of our debt, they will. And if we don't cut programs and funding that is duplicative or wasteful or has state-level comparative programs, we will never get anywhere. The problem is the beast is the federal government. And yes, Social Security checks will go out, welfare checks will continue,
the military
national
will
defense
get paid.
will continue, justice system will continue, farms, food inspections, air traffic. But here's my favorite, Greg. This is what I love about our government. Activities essential to the preservation of the essential elements of the money and banking system of the United States, including borrowing and tax collection activities of the Treasury. So guess what? The government may be down, but they'll be coming for your taxes. The problem is...
I have to continue paying my taxes?
Yeah,
I was planning on not paying beginning Saturday.
No, this is the reality.
I already spent that money.
Look, the shutdown... In my opinion, we have reached a point where it's time to starve the beast.
Yeah.
That is the federal government. And we have got to make some hard choices. Americans, by and large, realize that we need those hard choices, or else this country is going to be in a long-term, serious trouble.
You know, Richard, I do want to ask you about the remarks of Senator Schumer, Chuck Schumer of New York, otherwise known as a guy who'd walk a mile for a camera. You know, he got caught with his pants down when he didn't realize that reporters were listening in on his conversations as he was coaching other Democratic senators about how to trash the Tea Party. And then he hauls off, and he and Harry Reid both talk about how the Tea Party is awful. It doesn't represent America. There's a Rasmussen poll out that shows that basically a majority of Americans identify with the Tea Party. I think the number was 48%. And, you know, then when asked, do you identify with Congress, you know, they got like a handful. Aren't they wrong when they trash the Tea Party as not being representative of how a lot of Americans feel?
Look, I think both Chuck Schumer and the leadership in the House are and the leadership in the Senate, they're working very hard to pass
what's the answer to the question? You use the word extreme. It's political hyperbole. No, this is deflection, and it's time to stop the deflection. Look, Chuck Schumer says it. Answer the question.
Have your say, Richard.
At the end of the day, it's pretty simple. This is what it boils down to. The real question that we've got to ask ourselves is, who is looking out for the American people? Is it the Tea Party or is it the Democrats? And the answer is pretty simple. It's the Democrats. John Boehner himself. Hold on a second. Let me finish. John Boehner himself stated that they want 218 Republican votes to pass the budget. They're not even considering the Democrats. He's not willing to work bipartisanly. The Tea Party is not the only party in Washington.
No,
There's more
first
than
of
one
all, they're
elected
not
official.
a party. It's a bunch of founding principles. Look, let me put it to the American people and to the viewers. Simple example. If somebody fabricates a lie and somebody else, Senator Chuck Schumer and Harry Reid, and you now perpetuate that lie as being the right thing, is it become a truth if you repeat it enough? He said, uses extreme, and you can't tell me, because I think you're a pretty straightforward guy, that when the Democrats decide to use words and try to sell a position based on a lie, just so they can get an argument won, that is the right way to go about it.
Out of time. David, Richard Fowler, I'm going to let you have the last word on that. Go ahead, Richard.
Thank you, Greg. Let's put this question to the American people. It's a if and then. Would you rather have Pell Grants? Would you rather have the people protecting our clean air, clean water, which is all going to be cut under the Republican H.R. 1 plan? Would you like to have a plan that has Medicare go to vouchers, so we're cutting Medicare for our senior citizens and Medicaid for our children? Or would you rather, would you rather have all these services? Under the Democratic plan, that's what you're going to get. Under the Republican plan, they're going to hurt the middle class. They're going to hurt working Americans. They're going to hurt our economic recovery.
Yeah, the world's going to end. The Democrats are going to save us. Progressive policies work.
All right, well,
yeah, okay.
Both sides are fairly represented here. Richard Fowler, David Webb, thank you both. We're going to pause and take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about